Good morning. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note any website or email that I mention will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business licensing assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicago.gov/business licensing. The BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program now has a new portal, and getting your certificate is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Register for the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program. 2. Attend 6 free BACP webinars from listed categories and receive credit after each. 3. Graduate from the program and receive your certificate. Graduating from the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program makes you eligible to apply for a CIBC Bank USA's Entrepreneurial Loan Program. For full program detail, visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. For webinar calendar, please visit chicago.gov/BACP webinars. If you are already part of the program, your account will automatically reflect the credit for joining this webinar within 24 hours. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. I will post the mentioned information in the chat box. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please note that the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. Today's webinar will be Make Your Own Profit and Loss Statement Easy, presented by Erika and Gonzalez, Director of Program Management at 36 Square Incubator. Erika?
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for your kind introduction, and thank you for providing all the information that is important for all business owners. So once again, my name is Erika Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Program Management at 36 Square Business Incubator. We are a nonprofit organization that supports businesses with all abilities. So you need support, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll provide you the email information and the contact information for the organization. So I'm a former restaurant owner, and I know how it feels to be really busy. I understand how it feels to be wearing all the hats in a business because you have to take care of your employees, you have to take care of your inventory, you have to take care of everybody, even your customers. But sometimes we forget about the most essential thing that we have in our business and the purpose that why we are having a business, and it's the financials. So it was one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I started being a business owner, a restaurant owner, because I was making sure that my employees get paid. I was making sure that I have my business well supplied. I wanted to make sure that my customers were happy. So I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning of the business because even though my family, my parents, my grandparents, my brothers, they're entrepreneurs, it's not the same thing when you see everybody else being an entrepreneur than when you are yourself. Because when you are yourself, it's like, oh my God, now what do I do in my business, right? How do I handle these questions, or how do I do this management? And once again, we focus so much in everything else, and sometimes we take for granted the financials. And if you don't have well financial management, that is going to cause maybe your business, all the investment, all the time that you have put into your business, it might cost you a lot of money. So it's important that you understand why you have to take care of the financials. But the good thing is that I'm going to show you the easy way. I'm not an accountant, but I've been in constant communication with many accountants. But I want to give you a perspective as a business owner. How can I make things easier? Because I bet you that some of you or many of you, when they are asked, when you are called to get a loan, or you get even for a grant, they ask you, what is your profit and loss? And you are like, I don't know. How do I do that? Because just by thinking about just the word profit and loss is like, I don't even know what it means. And it's something that is essential for our business so they can thrive, so they can survive, and they can grow and expand. So because that profit and loss can tell you, are you making money, you're not making money, or you're breaking even. But if we don't have that information, how can we think about the strategies of growing our business? Or how can we think about, like, am I doing right or am I doing things wrong? So, but once again, I'm going to show you a perspective. I want you, once again, my intention is not to make you, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not going to say this is the only way that you have to do it. Obviously, you need to have constant communication with your accountant, but think about this. If you, unless the accountant is your best friend, which could be ideal, nobody is going to tell you, hey, you are making mistake here, you are overspending money in this area, or you have to make sure that you are taking care of your inventory. Nobody's going to do it. The accountant is going to allocate the expenses that you have and tell you this is for taxes, and this is how much you owe the taxes at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. But at the end, you have to take ownership of your own business. You have to take ownership of how you process and how you control your business, especially your financials. But let's take a look in what I'm talking about. And please feel free to send me any questions that you have in the chat, and hopefully you can enjoy this presentation. So once again, 36 Square Business Incubator, I'm working there. And thanks to our partners from BACP for giving me the opportunity to present and share this information with you. Once again, we always talk about financials. We talk about even complicated terms, right? But I want to make this term for you easy. I want to make it in a way that you are able to do it yourself. And the best of all is at the end of this training, you are going to receive the tool that I'm going to show you how to use it. And you are going to be able to work on this yourself and make your own assessment. So I'm going to empower you to do that. So let's go into this presentation. So once again, understanding your business financial is crucial. Why? Because if you are not making money, or if you are losing money, and you don't understand if you are really making money where you are getting profits, because one thing is receiving the revenues, because you can make thousands of dollars, but at the end of the month you break even, or you pay everybody else and you don't get money for yourself, or you take for granted that the money that you're receiving is for you, the whole thing. And no, there are so many things that we have to take in consideration, and I'm going to show you how. So once again, in order for you to grow or expand your business or keep the the sustainability of your business, it's important that you know where your business at financially. So this webinar is about what is a profit and loss statement. So a profit and loss statement is one document that is going to show you these are the expenses, these are the revenues that you have. Revenues minus expenses, I can tell you if you're making money or you're losing or you're breaking even. But you are going to ask yourself, what are the expenses that I have to put? How do I put them? Right? But I'm going to show you. So I want you to think about your business, like from the top of your business, from outside. I want you to step out a little bit for your business, because sometimes we don't see it, right? Because we're so into our business that we see everything the same way all the time. But I want you to take a step back, and I want you to look at this graphic. This circle is where your funding, your revenues, your money that you're getting in your business is going. So usually the biggest chunks are going to employees and inventory. You have your operational expenses, you have the taxes that we have to pay, and you have the space for the profit. Obviously, the profit that you are getting, it depends on you, depends on how you manage the other chunks of areas. Obviously, taxes doesn't count because that's something that we have to pay. But if you think about, you have to think like where your money is going towards salaries. It's important that you pay yourself, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. What about your inventory? What is the inventory that you have? Have you ever do you have a good system to use inventory? Are you counting personally? Are you looking at the stuff that you have in your inventory? What about the operational expenses? What are the operational expenses that you count? Every single dollar that you spend in your business is part of any of this circle. Like inventory, what are the things that you're buying for your inventory? Like even the lunch, the coffee that you buy every morning. Those are part of your expenses, because I need transportation to go to my business. I need my coffee so I can perform well in my business, things like that. But let's take a little bit of deeper look into these areas. So labor expenses. So these labor expenses refers to wages or salaries. If you pay overtime, if you pay any time off or PTO, or you pay vacation, bonuses and incentives, benefits, you pay benefits, and employer taxes. Your portion that you pay as when you hire employees as a W-2. Now, many business owners, and I'm count myself for that, when we start a business, usually we don't pay ourselves. And that's a big mistake. We have to pay ourselves, because if not, we're going to be taking money for the register, from the cash register, or from the bank account, because we're going to think, oh, I made $500 today. Oh, I'm going to spend the $500 in whatever I want. No, it's important that you allocate a salary so you can make a budget for yourself, for your employees, and for all the expenses that you have. Otherwise, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, you're going to be short in funding to cover all your expenses. So I encourage you that if you don't pay yourself, make yourself, you can pay yourself a salary if you want, to make it like more easy for you to manage. Obviously, it's something reasonable according to the income that you have in your business. For example, if you make like $5,000 a week, for example, in your business, maybe it can be a rational for you to pay yourself $100 or 150 per day, right? If you add it up at the week, you with the salary that you allocate for yourself, you will be able to cover your personal expenses, like probably rent, mortgage, utilities for your home, etc., etc. So that way you're not getting the profit or additional revenue that is needed for your business into yourself. So I encourage you to pay you also with a W-2, because sometimes we think like, I don't want to pay taxes, it's too much of taxes. But the important thing is that you know that is tax deductible. So whatever you invest in the employee, like even you pay yourself, right, with W-2, is really good for you and even for your business. Why? Because you will be able to accumulate funding for your unemployment, for your social security, for your all the deductions that are needed for yourself. So at the end, you are paying yourself a benefit as a business owner. And also you do it for your employees, once again, it's tax deductible. So it's important that you take that in consideration. And it's important that you talk to your accountant, because your accountant can tell you what is the percentage that you as a business owner have to pay for example, yourself, or for the employees that you have, because each individual is different based on the dependents, or based on different factors that the accountant can tell you specifically for your business. So that's why I say the accountant is very important, but I want you to take ownership of your own business and your expenses that you have. So once again, these are the things that you have to allocate for the expense. Now, another thing that I encourage you to do, record your cost of labor in one area, in one sheet. You can do it manually, you can do it in a piece of paper if you want, like how much you pay every week. Make sure that you have your schedule. Create a schedule even for yourself, so that way you know how many hours you are investing in your business. Put a schedule for your employees. Try to do it 1 week or even 2 weeks ahead, so that way they know what is the expectations they need to have about the work schedule that they will have. And also for you, because it will be easy for you to keep record of that, so you can go back and say, oh, this employee worked this day. Oh, I forgot that this employee this day was off. So I was going to make the check, but I noticed that this employee was off for whatever reason. So it's important that you keep track of all the expenses that you have. And if you need support with that, make sure that you send me an email and I can help you with that. So today is the profit and loss, but I want you to keep that in mind. So think about the businesses like buckets. So one of the biggest bucket is the labor expense. So usually you might say like, okay, so how much should I allocate for my employees? Okay, if you are a product-based business, usually it's about 30%. But if you are a service-based business, like a trucking company, like a esthetician, or like you have a beauty salon, or you have a massage therapist business, usually it's around 40 to 50%. right? And I cannot say 60% because once again, remember, you have to cover the taxes, you have to cover your inventory, and obviously your profit. Okay, so that's why that's the range that it should be. But obviously, you know your business better, so you can determine what will be the percentage that you want to limit your budget. So that way you are not overspending in salaries. And also, when you do the analysis for your labor expense, make sure that you um, put a budget and analyze what happened in that expense. Did you overspend money? Did your budget for the employee salaries went over 30 or 40%? What can you do? With data that you have in writing, it's easy for you to take a strategy to start thinking about what is the adjustment that I need to do as a business owner so I can uh, put my employees in the right time. Like if you are working, sometimes when you are working in the business and you have employees, in many occasions the business owner is the one that is working the most, right? So it's important that you think about like, okay, if I have this many employees and I'm working, do I need this number of employees at the same time that I'm working with them? Or should I just arrange my schedule and allocate my employees where I don't need to be there, and they are able to do the job that they need to do? So once again, take that in consideration for your employees and to manage your schedule accordingly so that way you can maximize your employees, but at the same time maximize the budget that you have for your labor expense. Now, the other big chunk that we saw on the financials is the inventory. Once again, if your budget is for, like if you're a product-based business, 30% will be for inventory and 30% will be for employees. For a service base, it will be like 30 to 40% for towards cost of labor, ¿verdad? The labor, and like about 10 to 20% for inventory. And I'm going to share more information about what I mean by that. So what is an inventory? Inventory refers to the goods, materials, or products sold for resale, like raw materials, items that you need to perform a service, supplies, items for resale, packing materials, etc. For example, in a grocery store, they purchase a lot of items for resale, right? But also they in many grocery stores they have food, they prepare food, so they have, probably hiring a cook or having more personnel that they can be in charge of that. But also like if you have a service based business like a trucking company, what do they need? They need to have like a specific oil, anti-coolant, liquid for the windshield, etc. So the inventory or some hoses that they need to take for the road. So there is the inventory is cheaper, or is smaller compared to like a grocery store, right? That they have employees and they have more inventory that they have to do. Um, so that's why you have to take in consideration about this. Take a look at your inventory. You might say, well, I am website development developer, so I don't need any inventory. Of course you do. You need to make sure that you have softwares. You have to make sure that you have even a printer, right? Because if you need to go see your client, maybe you need to print some examples. Make sure you have ink, paper clips, folders, all of that thing, all of the things that you need to perform a service, you need is part of the inventory. Even a paper clip that you buy is inventory. Even a pencil that you buy is inventory. Even the toilet paper that you buy for your business is inventory. The soap, everything that you use in your business is part of your inventory. So it's not only the things that you buy to perform the service, but everything that you need as part of your business. So make sure that you take a good look at the inventory and make a baseline. That's a good recommendation that I have for you. Create a baseline for the products that you buy. So that way it will help you not to overspend money on your inventory. That's one of the biggest mistakes that sometimes we make. Because if we see something on sale, we are like, oh, let me buy it. It's on sale. That's a great deal. But do you need it? Do you have the space to put everything away that you are buying? And let me tell you why it's important that you physically look at your inventory. I have one client. And nice, I really, that's a very nice client. I love him very much in a friendly way, not in the creepy way, okay? And he was in one of my classes and we were talking about inventory. He told me, Erica, he sells shoes. And he told me, Erica, I think I have 200 pairs of shoes in my store. I say, oh, that's great. So when he came back the following class, he was like with the thinking about it. He went back and he looked at all his inventory, and surprisingly, he had 400 pair of shoes. So just think about you as a business owner. Inventory, what it represents is money sitting on your shelves, right? That should not be there. That should be on display. You have to start thinking like, okay, what do I do with the items that I have sitting on my shelf? Start promoting them even more, put them on sale, especially if you think that there are products that are going to expire. It's better that you lose a little bit of profit than lose the whole thing, the whole investment that you do in the item. So make sure that you put sales, make sure that you put combo. That's a good strategy, right? Like if you see like McDonald's or all these kind of big stores, they always create combos because once they sell more, they instead of buying like the hamburger or cheeseburger for $5, for example, you end up spending like $8 to $9 or more because they create a combo. So if you have the intention to spend $5, you are going to be ending up spending almost 50% more, 40% more of what you have in your mind. Why? Because you are putting everything so easy that people is like, oh yes, I'm getting a great value out of this. But the value for you as a business owner is that you are going to create a strategy to start selling more, increase your sales, but also the strategy to start removing things that you have in your shelves. For example, a beautician, somebody that is in a beauty salon, you can think like, oh, I have keratin, I have some mask for the hair, so maybe you can create like, okay, if you do this type of highlights, I'm gonna throw a mask for free, or I'm gonna throw you a mask for 50% off. The goal is that you start increasing and selling products more, so that way you can start making your inventory circling around, so that way you don't keep it in your shelves. So, and once again, create a baseline so you're not overspending. For example, you need, okay, going back again to the beauty salon. Like you have, what are the common dye colors that you use? No, these are the most popular. So, for example, you have a blue or a pink that is sitting in your shelf. Maybe you can start making a promotion where you target audience. It can be young people, right? Where you can do that. I mean, I'm not saying that only people dye their hair pink, but what I'm saying is one of the target clients. But once again, you know your business better, so you know who your typical clients are. So try to think about those strategies. Like for example, you have a trucking business, and you are like, okay, so I'm sending my driver to, for example, Wisconsin. And then you are like, what do I do? Try to look for another client that is in Wisconsin. And so that way you can bring some merchandise back. So that way you're maximizing your employee by also maximizing the way back. Because at the end, the employee is going to spend the same amount of diesel, right? So it might spend a little more with merchandise. But what I'm saying is better that you increase your revenues. Once again, think about those kind of strategies so you can move your inventory around and maximize your employees. Now we have the other expense is not as big as the inventory or cost of labor, but we have operational expenses. These are the other expenses that are helping administrate the business. That it have nothing to do with the cost of the inventory, but is what are the items or the products or services that you need for your business, right? To run and to operate. So these operational expenses support the function of the business. And these are essentials for the day-to-day operations. So we're talking about property taxes. You pay taxes, the insurance, marketing, utilities, bank fees, rent, professional service like accountant or any professional services that you need for your business. maintenance and repairs, gasoline. And so all these expenses, it's important that you understand what are the expenses that you have in your business. This can be fixed and this can be variable. With the variable, you can make decisions like, do I need it? Can I reduce the cost of this? For example, marketing. Sorry, marketing people. This is the area where you have to cut a little bit, right? Because it's the area that is more flexible. Obviously, with property tax, it's difficult, but obviously there is always ways that you can try to see you can reduce your property taxes. Insurance. If you have like a fixed expense for insurance, shop around and see if there is another opportunity for lower the price of your insurance. The rent usually is not negotiable. Usually it goes higher instead of lower. But think about if there is a way that you can lower your rent if you offer or you do additional things for your business. Once again, it's optional. Like travel, like if you pay yourself a vacations or if you have to send somebody for a conference or yourself, you need to have a meeting, for example, out of state. Those are expenses that are operational expenses, right? Like if you are going to California for a meeting or for a training, you are paying for the training, you are paying for the transportation, you are paying for the food, you are paying for just materials or things that you need for this training. So those are additional expenses that are part of your operational expenses. So once again, once you know what are your expenses, you can use it in a piece of paper, you can do an Excel sheet. Or once again, if you need these tools, let me know. And I can happily sit with you, show you how you can use them in an easy way and empower you to do this for your business. So it's important that you keep record for your employee expenses, one for your inventory, how much money you spend in your inventory, and list everything that you spend on, and general operating expenses. So it's important that you understand what are your constant expenses. Like for example, license. You don't have to renew the license probably every year or every 2 years. So you can make a decision that either you can allocate the amount that costs you for your license over the 12 months or over the 2 years, or you can just put money on the side and pay everything at once. So once again, it's depending of you, how you feel comfortable, what is the best way for you to manage your financials in a way that you can maximize the revenue that you're receiving and reduce costs in every area. When I talk about inventory, that it's important that you put a baseline. It's because you have a baseline of 30 days. Whatever supplies I need for 30 days, it will, when you go shop for your inventory, you are going to restrain yourself or overspending. Trust me, it helps a lot. It's like when you go to the store and you don't have your credit cards and you have only cash, you have $100 cash that you can spend. Even though you want to spend like $300, you're not going to be able to do that because you have only $100. So that's the restriction that you're putting yourself when you have a baseline. And also empower your employees. You have employees, empower them to help you do inventory. Do inventory as often as you need to. Usually it's every, like in a restaurant, for example, I have to do inventory every week so I can make sure that I have the enough supplies for my whole week, including the weekend. But there are some businesses that might need once a month. Maybe they need to supply their business once a month, or depending on whatever your industry is, you know better. Once again, now this is a profit and loss statement. Once again, many banks or many financial institutions use different format, but at the end, I wanted to give you a simple tool that is easy for you that doesn't feel overwhelmed. Because once again, I understand you. I know how it feels to be running a business and to be making time for manage your financials. So I want to make something really easy for you. And I'm going to show you how it works. Any questions so far?
No questions.
No questions? Good. So I'm going to keep going then. So don't be shy and make sure you ask questions, okay? So this is a profit and loss statement. This is a worksheet that you will be able to download using Excel. You have Excel, but if you don't have Excel, you can use, unfortunately, you have to use a Google account. If you don't have one, you have to create one. And that's a good thing, right? That Google offers these resources for free. So I encourage you to open a Gmail account for your business. but that also is going to help you to streamline everything related to your business. So it's important that you have also a business account, okay? So that way you don't mix the personal with the business. So this is the whole sheet, right? So here is the area. So here you're going to put your business name, the day when you're performing this profit and loss statement, who is making the losses, the profit and loss statement. It's important that whoever is doing, put their name, even though it's yourself. Because if sometimes you are going on vacation and you put in charge somebody from your team or a family member, it's important that they put their name so that way you can remember. What is the period that you are doing this profit and loss statement? I recommend to do it monthly, but many organization businesses, they can do it like every quarter. But I recommend monthly because it's easier to, hey, if I see like what is the issue, it will be easier and faster for me to resolve it, right? Because otherwise it will be like, chin, I'm on a way. I waited this long for something that I can resolve like early in the quarter. So once again, that's my recommendation, but obviously it's up to you, depending on your time and how you feel about it. So you put this is the information for your business, but this is the area where you're going to include all the income that you receive. Once again, this is for your personal view. You don't have to share this with your accountant if you don't want to, because that's the way that he do it based on the information that you provide him for the amounts that you spend. But this is for you. This is the moment where you can be true to yourself about your business. Be realistic. And once again, be truthful. It's for you. I'm not going to see it. BICP is not going to see it. Nobody's going to see it but yourself, right? So it's important that you put yourself. Usually, if you are doing this monthly, obviously you're going to put the sales that you're receiving every month, right? You can check it in your bank account. You can check in your cash register receipts. How much did you receive? Like for example, you do events. So something that you can say, well, I do events every week. I do like 1, 2, or 3 events. So you want to make it easy, you can just add lines here. You go to any line and just go to insert row below or above, and then you will have the rows, as many as you need. Like for example, you have events, you can say the name of your client. Instead of sales, maybe you can say client number 1, for example. Obviously you put the name. And how much did the client pay you? Maybe you can say, oh, the client was to 2,500, right? So see, so you're going to put the least amounts here, and it's going to give you the total right here. But take a look at this. Also, it's going to put the total right here, and it's giving you a positive number. Why? Because we haven't put any expenses, right? Now you can say, well, I have, and then you can list off your clients if you want, right? If you want to put just the revenue straightforward right here. But also you can say, well, I have a restaurant, but I receive cash, cash. I receive the cash. I receive credit card. What's wrong with me today? Credit card. And then you can put how much money did you get for the credit card. You can say I got $8,000, for example. And then you can say, well, I got somebody pay me an invoice that owed me for 3 months ago. You can say invoice number 7, and then you can put yourself a note from January 2024, right? So once again, you put whatever information that you put, but the important thing is that you put the correct amount that you're receiving. Now, once you have that, so you can accommodate this area and any way you want it, and you need it for your business. Now, the expenses. You can say, well, in the month, once again, you're recording how much you're spending per week or a month or per project. You will be able to have this amount ready for your P&L. So for example, you can say, I spend 3,500 in labor. Now, you see that this is for the revenue. You can see the expenses, and you can see, okay, so see, I don't have 10,500 for me. as we might think, right? Like, oh, I made this much money, it's for me. No, you are covering expenses. So if I'm having the labor expense, I'm getting 7,000. So the amount is going to get lower and lower. Okay. So the inventory, how much did you spend? Let's say you are very well organized and you spend the same amount. Well, okay. Now your profit so far is 3,500. But you can say, oh, the operational expenses, I spent $2,000 because I was paying my license and I was paying a additional expense that I have. And then you can get the 10%, let's say, you pay 1,500 for taxes, for example. But you say, oh my God, this month I have one of my fridge broke down, so I spent $2,000. So now let's take a look. Now it's telling you that you're not making this much money. You are $2,000 short. And you will be like, oh, so what I'm gonna do now? So if this is the situation for the month, and I'm gonna make it like just a little larger so that way you can see the whole thing. Sorry, my bad. So now you're looking like, oh, okay. And this month I'm losing money. Why? So now you're asking yourself why. So you can go back to your labor expense and say, why did I spend 3,500? Why did I need the employees this many hours, or did I spend really this many hours? What about the inventory? Why did I do wrong that give me this high inventory? What happened? So you can go back and trace. Did I overspend? Did I purchase something that I was not supposed to? Or because I have events, I promised that I was going to deliver something with a specific amount. But at the end, for example, like I wanted to do like a catering and I promised to make a strawberry dessert. But the strawberries, I'm in a winter season where the strawberries usually cost like $7 a case. When right now it might cost from $1 to $3. So obviously my inventory cost was really high for that season. So it's important that you take in consideration to look back into this inventory and say what happened. So that's why it's important that you keep record of every line item that you have in your business, right? Like what about operational expenses? Like why did I spend 2,000 in operational expenses? You can say, oh, it's because I paid my license and I forgot. But you have record. If it's starting today, you start keeping record of your business, you can easily go back and say what happened last year this month. So you can start constantly comparing your business about what happened, what did I do right, what did I do wrong, what is the strategies that I took. And this is once again for you. So this is for you, this is a tool for you to maximize the things that you have in your business and improve the things that are not working. Now, sales tax, let me make it bigger again. So inventory, operational expenses, sales tax, equipment repair. Oh, I know. So this time my fridge broke, so I had to pay for that. So that's why I'm $2,000 short. But if it wasn't for this, right? Let's say why didn't have a repair. These persons got even, broke even. So also with the broke even, you have to think about like, okay, I broke even. So what is my profit? So if you don't know, if you don't have any profit, it's like, what's my point of me doing business? So you have to start thinking, okay, what do I do? How many more events do I have to do? How many more clients I have to have in order for me to start getting my profits? What adjustments I need to do with my labor expense? What adjustment I need to do with my inventory? Because for example, if for next month, when you say, I'm gonna reduce that one because I'm gonna maximize my cost of labor expense. So I'm gonna say next time I want to be more efficient and I want to be 2,800, right? And my inventory, I'm gonna limit myself. I'm gonna make sure that I spend 2,500 because now I have my baseline, so I'm not overexpending money. Operational expenses, I was able to reduce it by let's say 10%, so I'm 1,800. My taxes are the same. Now I can start seeing a profit, 1900 in profit. So you can start seeing like, okay, once again, just take a look at the numbers, okay? Is you are making $10,000 a month. So now you can start thinking like, is this only my profit? What do I need to do to increase my profit? Once again, strategies. Maybe you need to do more marketing. Well, you can say, well, I don't want to spend in marketing. Okay, you have to explore what are the resources that are free for you. You have to explore what's going on, what is in the environment in my community, that what are the resources that I can take advantage of so I can reduce these expenses. If you go to your local organization, local economical development organization, or your local chamber of commerce, they offer a lot of free classes for marketing. They can help you with your website. Maybe you can say, well, I'm selling crafts, right? But I'm only selling in my this location, but I can put it sometimes in Facebook. But what about the person that wants that when came and visit Chicago and walk into your business, but they really like something from you, but they're not able to contact you only through Facebook. But what about the person that doesn't have Facebook? So think about that. Like if you don't have a website, maybe it's time for you to create a website. Once again, take a look at the local organizations that you work with. They can help you create your own website. They can help you to learn how you can maximize your business. They can help you with resources that they might have for you. There are in Chicago, there are special service areas that offer a lot of resources for business owners. Like maybe they can help you with a sign. Maybe they can help you with security for your business. Maybe they can help you with marketing, things like that, there are resources, but you need to connect with them. And remember, the city of Chicago, the Cook County or the county or the state of Illinois, they provide this funding for the organizations like 36 Square Business Incubator. So you don't have to pay for that. So they hire specialized people like me and others so we can help you, so we can provide you the resources that you need. We can help you, guide you, coach you to grow in your business. So once again, it's important that you have this data so that way you can start thinking about what do I do in my business. So having the data also helps you compare what happened from in summertime, what happened in wintertime. Now remember, also the weather affects how much money we're going to make per day. Like when it's a hard winter, sometimes we might not have sales or we might have a lot of sales. Like in wintertime, all the hardware stores and big stores, they have like a good sales because everybody's buying salt, shells, but maybe restaurants are not having enough clients because, people is showing the snow, or maybe it's raining and people they don't want to go to a museum, or they don't want to do outdoor activities. So maybe they want to go to a restaurant. So the restaurant might have good sales. So once again, it's important that you take a look at everything, as every aspect that affect your business. So that's why it's important that you have record of everything that you do, have a good order, and make sure that you have access to this. Once again, if you need support with how to allocate these areas, make sure you contact me and I help you with that. And then this one, this worksheet, you can do it, you can have in one file for all year around. So what you can do is you go to this area. Are you able to see this area? So when it says sheet, you can just rename it. You can click in the arrow, you can say rename it, and I can say January. January 2024, right? So that's for the month of January. So it's important that you create the first one, the first page first, so that way you can create like a template, right? And then you can duplicate this one, and it will say copy of January. So now you're going to be able to rename it. And instead of say copy of January, you can say February 2024. So that way you can easily go from one month to another month to check what happened. Am I going towards my goals of increasing my profit? Or something happened. Okay, let me take a look here. What happened? Did I have something unexpected? And you have all this space for you to make your own notes, to put additional expenses that probably you didn't consider in the labor expense or the inventory or operational expenses, anything unexpected. you can put it here, or anything that you have been planning for and you pay for it, you can put it in here, right? Everything, every expense that happens in 1 month, you put it in here. So once again, so when you go back, you can say, oh, I remember what happened. Like in a year from now, like you have the record from the 2024, you can say, okay, so let me start planning my month. Let me start planning for Valentine's Day. So you go back to February, you can say, well, I made this much money in February. My goal for this year, 2025, instead of selling $10,000, I'm going to make $20,000. I'm going to start selling these items for Valentine's, or I'm going to create these things for Valentine's, or I'm going to make sure that I increase my sales in my business for I'm going to take advantage that it's a holiday. So I'm going to increase my sales. So that's the way that you can create your own profit and loss and assess if you are making money or you are losing money or if you are breaking even. Now you can tell me any questions, and please don't be shy.
They're asking if they're gonna get this they're asking if they're gonna get this Excel document.
Yes, I want to email it to you. So once again, remember, you're going to be able to use this one in Excel or in Google Sheets. You have to
Perfect.
open it in Google Sheets. Once again, Google is free resources that have very similar programs to Microsoft. So that's why I encourage people to create a Gmail account. But once again, Google is not paying me. I wish they pay me, but Google is not paying me. So I'm not making a commercial for Google. But once again, it's the resources that are for free for you.
Okay, great. Another one. If I purchase inventory in the current month, but I don't have to pay for it until the following month, which month do I need to record the expense?
Where you are taking the money out of your bank account, because it's not going to even be reflected in your bank account. So if you are ordering products, right? You say, well, I have to pay, I have a month to pay. So the advantage that you have of doing that is that you can, if you allocate funding for that expense during this month, you don't have to wait until next month, right? But you can say, well, I'm going to allocate, if I owe to this person that is going to sell me this product that I'm going to pay in the next month, maybe I'm going to put 50%. I'm going to allocate 50%, right, as part of my inventory. So next month, I'm not paying the full amount. I'm paying the other 50%, right? So once again, this is the money for you to allocate. So it's a way for you to budget your expenses. So don't wait, especially you have this opportunity to pay a month later. Try to budget the funding that you have to pay, the money that you have to pay, so that way you're not paying everything at once. Because what about you are relying in whatever you sell or whatever you make at the beginning of the month to pay that amount. So I encourage you to budget and take it out of your or put it aside from your bank account, or make sure that you have it safe. So that way you are recording it into your expense, but even though you are paying the whole thing in the next month, you have allocated that money. Does it make sense?
Yes, perfect. Good morning. How do you document, organize your analysis to explain your amount?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Sure. How do you document and then organize in parentheses your analysis to explain your amount?
Okay. So the way, as I show you in the document, right? When you see every line item that you put in there, you can name it the way you want it. When you see that amount, you are going to go back to, and you are going to say, okay, I'm just putting the amount here for my cost of labor. So I'm going to go back to my documents where I have my cost of labor, and I'm going to assess what happened. Did I have an event, and that's why I overspent? An example, you are going to a festival, right? You are going to a festival and you are bringing an assistant with you. But unfortunately, that day it was raining, so I was expecting to make $1,000 as a sale, but I didn't. I make only $200, but I had to pay the employee or my assistant, and I had to pay myself. So I pay her or him, my assistant, $100, and I pay myself $100. So it means that I lose money because you pay for the spot, you pay for to whatever you need to bring for that day. So, but you put a note yourself, okay, that day I lose money, or that day I didn't make any revenues because this is what happened. You can start thinking and assessing, do I go back and participate in the festival again? Right? But this is a way for you to explain to yourself. And also, if you want to get access to capital and you say, and they ask you for your profit and loss, you can say, okay, these are my expenses. A financial institution, they want to see what is your, how do you manage your funding? How do you manage your revenues? So that's why they're always asking, what is your profit and loss? Because obviously you show a lot of loss, unless obviously there is circumstances outside of your control. If you're applying for a grant and they can see that, obviously it's easier that they can understand your situation. But remember, the numbers are the story that you're going to be telling. What is the story behind that I overspend on my employees? Did something happen that I had to spend too much money on employees, but I didn't get the revenue that I was expending? So that's why expecting. So that's why my expenses were higher than my revenues. I hope I answered your question right.
Okay, great. What were the 3 expense types you said to track earlier?
What were the 3 expenses?
3 expense types that you said to track earlier.
Okay. The cost of your employees, including yourself. Again, I encourage you to pay yourself either W-2 or assign a salary you want, but it's a cost of labor, right? Because if you're not in your business, you might have to pay somebody else to do your business. So it's important that you allocate, because that will help you with budgeting. That will help you. Okay, if I'm going on vacation, but I'm going to have this employee that is going to be doing my job, and at least you know how much money you're going to spend in your inventory, in your cost of labor. So the major expenses are cost of labor. It's around 30 to 40 to 50%, depending on the industry, and inventory. Those are the big chunks that you have. And then the other one will be operational expenses. So these are the 3 major expenses where you have control. When you can say, well, do I need 5 employees for my business? You can say, if I work myself, right? If I include myself, because many of this is a big mistake that also many business owners do. Is like, I have 4 employees, but I'm working on my business. I don't pay myself. But if you think about this, you are an employee too. You are performing the job too. So you have to count yourself as an employee too. So that's why it's important, very important, that you pay yourself a salary. So once again, salaries, cost of salaries, remember what I said before, is wages or W-2s, you pay by hour or by salary, vacation time, PTO time, any benefits, you offer benefits, taxes, and any pay time off. You pay time off for vacations. Inventory, everything that you need to perform a service or to provide a product, and the operational expenses, which is the expenses associated with the support for the function of the business.
Okay, great. Is there a limit to how much you can spend per month on food/meals for me or my staff?
That's something that obviously you determine. Just think about this. If you pay for you and your staff, let's say $5. If you pay $5 per employee, how much money is a week? How much money is a month? Is that an expense that your business is able to cover? Maybe you can change that. Instead of paying breakfast for everybody, maybe you can say, well, I'm gonna pay only for lunch on Saturdays. Or maybe you can say, I'm gonna pay 50% of your meal. You buy your meal. Once again, everything is, especially you have a restaurant and you pay for the employee's salary. I'm sorry, for the employee's lunch, that they can eat whatever they want from the business. Once again, you are losing money. And just think about Walmart, Target, all the businesses. They always charge the employee a lower price or discount price, even though they eat from their business. But because at the end is money from the business, right? The goal is that you as a business owner, you don't lose money. So think about, and is something that is worth it for you to do it like every day, or you want to do it once a week, or you want to do it like a pay portion of it. Once again, depending on your business, how you feel is your business able to cover that expense.
Great. The follow-up is there a limit that the IRS requires?
Check with your accountant. The IRS, once again, the IRS will charge you the taxes based on your sales. If you make $1,000, they're going to charge you sales based on the industry that you have and based of how much do you make.
Okay, next question. Where do you put the notes so that it is organized as the sheet?
In the sheet, you can put, for example, you put cost of labor, you can put a note right there. You have the whole sheet to put notes everywhere. So you can do, it's like a piece of paper. You can put notes on the side, you can put it next to the name. If you do give enter, it will make use the Excel a little bigger. So you can just, it's not going to affect the format. So you can put it right there next to the item that you are allocating your notes.
Okay, great. If there's any other questions, we'll give everyone another minute. I am posting in the chat again. The webinar is being recorded and will be posted at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. We'll give everyone one more minute.
Yes. So let me put my information again. So if you want to reach out to me. So let me go. So just to summarize, why is important to have my business P&L? It says multiple purposes, right? Assess profitability. Like, are you making money? Are you not making money? Manage costs. It will help you with understand where I am, where my money is going, and what can I do to make it, to maximize it, or to reduce the expense, but maximize the resources that I have. It helps you manage costs. Once again, you can shop around for inventory. You can see if you can reduce costs on the operational expenses. It helps you with financial planning. So you can say, if this is a pattern, usually businesses have a pattern, right? Like how much you are making in January, how much you're making in February, because everything, especially in Chicago, right? We have a beautiful weather that has all 4 seasons. So we spend money based on the seasons and based on the weather. So it's important that you see what are the patterns that are happening over the year. It will be easy for you to plan for the following year. It will help you to be on top of business. It will help you to see like, hey, I'm overspending in my employees, so I have this schedule, or somebody help me with the schedule. Hey, let me review the schedule. Let me see if I can maximize this. Or they're planning to have this inventory. Let's think about like what are the costs around so I can reduce the expenses. And also you can see the financial health. Am I making money or not? Should I? Because usually as a business owner, you're not going to go to the other business that is the same as you, ask him, hey, are you making money or not? Because you don't want to look, and I'm telling you this for my own experience, you don't want to tell anybody, hey, I'm a loser. I feel like a loser. I felt like that when I was like, I don't know if I'm the only one not making sales, because I was like, who do I ask to? So it's important that you make your own assessment and you start thinking, hey, am I making money or not? I don't have to prove to anybody, just to myself. And make informed decisions to drive the growth of your business. Once again, if your goal is you are breaking even, my goal for the next month or 2 months is to increase my profits by 10%, 20%. My goal at the end of the year is duplicate the typical revenues that I have, right? So once again, you can start making goals. And that is going to help you, because if you continue growing, it's going to help you expand your business. You can expand and have access to capital. You have control of your business. You need access to capital for what? Like if you want to open a second location, like if you want to hire another specialized team member so you can offer a different services or additional services, right? So you need to have the capital for your business so you can obviously grow. But in order for you to do that, you need to have a good control of your basic business financials, so that way you are able to make your business grow. Okay. And then this is my contact information. Visit us at 36business.org. This is my email. This is the email for my colleague Andrew Fogarty and my other colleague Nivea Ramos. We are here to help you. Thanks to the funding that we received by the city, by the county, and by the state, we're able to provide you services no matter where you are. But obviously, I always recommend you to go to your local organization so that way they can provide you and also you can see what is something closer to you and look at what are resources available, because each organization have diverse and different resources. Also, I encourage you to go to the cityofchicago.gov/BACP, because obviously the city has a lot of resources for you too, like these classes, other programs that they might have available, so you can improve in your business. Okay. So
Great.
once again, we're here for you. So take advantage of everything that you have available.
Great. Thank you so much. Getting tons of thank yous. Great jobs. Appreciate it. So I want to thank Erika always. Thank you so much for such a great presentation and being such a great partner. And I want to thank everyone for attending, hoping everyone has a great, safe, and fun weekend.
Yes, enjoy it.
Thank
It's
you.
a
Have a
nice
good one.
weather.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.